are the biggest winners from 2023 free agency? Jeff, go ahead and start us off here.
Well, you know what? You're going to be happy, I think, with the person that I'm going to mention first, and that's Justin Fields. The way that Justin Fields is currently progressing and how the team is improving, I mean, we could see a Jalen Hurts-like rise in his third year. And, I mean, we already know he's a threat as a rusher, but with these increased weapons and firepower that the Bears are giving him, he could reach that next level. And this, of course, is even before the draft unveils even more weapons that could be at his disposal. So DJ Moore being the big piece, but I really like what the Bears have done for Fields. And if he just takes a step or two more forward as a passer, yeah, he could reach that next level.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. And I mean, the signs last year indicated that they wanted things to get better for Justin Fields, but maybe not the best process, giving up what ended up being the 32nd overall pick for Chase Claypool. But I think that the trade for DJ Moore was a home run. And now looking at this wide receiver group as a whole, where you've got Chase Claypool who potentially is the wide receiver 3 behind Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore, I'm completely with you, Jeff. Love that one. Sam, who is your biggest quarterback winner from free agency?
Yeah, it pains me a little bit to say it, but Jerry Jones finally made a smart move. And look, the Cowboys said they wanted to kind of go all in and that Dak Prescott didn't have nearly enough weapons. So they went out and traded a 5th and a 6th round pick for Brandon Cooks this past week. And I think that's going to be a move that turns out to pay huge dividends for them. This is the team that, Michael Gallup coming back from his ACL tear last year, never really looked that good. Noah Brown didn't do much. And now Dalton Schultz is gone. So someone needed to kind of come in and take some of those targets. And Brandon Cooks is going to come right in. I think he's going to fit right into the role that Amari Cooper vacated last year. And I think he's going to be a really solid wide receiver 3 who has some wide receiver 2 upside to him. And all above it, I just think Dak Prescott, who has been really good for fantasy, hasn't really been able to crack the formula of deep runs in the playoffs yet. But I think for fantasy, this is going to be huge for Dak Prescott as he took a little bit of a step back last season.
So just off the cuff here, I don't know, either of you guys can speak, but what is going on with Brandon Cooks behind the scenes? I mean, this guy is wildly talented, and now he is going to be playing for what this was the 4th time he's been traded now, playing for his 5th team. Can either of you provide some insight here as to why Brandon Cooks can't figure it out long-term with the team?
I don't know. I mean, we see the same thing, too, with Ryan Fitzpatrick as well, right? And we don't necessarily equate negativity to that, but maybe he's just figured out the way to, get that next contract or, just kind of be in the limelight or the spotlight. Maybe he likes to move on. Without knowing any specifics, and locker room specifics, or if there's a practice, an area of weakness there, it's hard to speculate. But yeah, something seems up, huh?
Yeah,
Something is going on for sure. We already talked about quarterbacks a little bit, but let's get into the running backs. And Jeff, start us off again here. What running back do you think was the biggest winner of free agency?
I kind of like what Miles Sanders has been able to do by his move to Carolina. I mean, this is a new coaching staff compared to last year's Panthers team, but the offensive line is one of the team's strengths. They're returning all of their starters for another year, so you've got improved cohesion on the way. And reports suggest that Sanders is going to be used more as a receiving weapon as well in this offense, in addition to being a rushing threat. So I like Sanders and his opportunity to build on his 250 carries from last year and be a strong running back from a fantasy sense as well in the NFC.
Yeah, and we've got Jeff here, who is a Panthers fan, and Sam on the other side of the room, sitting here as an Eagles fan. So I don't know if you did this just to try to drum up some drama here, Jeff, but Sam, you lost your guy, and he's in Carolina now. But I think that the guys in Philadelphia aren't going to be too happy or too unhappy with who is filling that void. So who is your biggest free agency winner, Sam?
Yeah, and it did suck a little bit to lose Miles Sanders, who expressed his desire to stay with the Eagles in free agency. But the Eagles don't really re-sign running backs, and I kind of got used to the idea that Miles Sanders would be on his way out. So I was interested to see who the Eagles would bring in, and they surprised me. Look, he only got basically a vet minimum contract, and it's no guarantee that he makes the team on this sort of contract. But if he can stay healthy, I think Rashad Penny is one of the best 10 runners, pure runners in the NFL, and he's blessed with a ton of talent. He just has some really, really poor injury luck over his first handful of seasons in the NFL. But I think this is a place where he could absolutely dominate and be lethal behind the best offensive line in the league. So, give me Rashad Penny all day as a huge winner for free agency. I mean, this is a great place for him to bet on himself with this 1 year deal. And the Eagles love hammers behind the offensive line. When they won the Super Bowl in 2018, it was LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi. And that's the kind of running back room that Howie Roseman loves to build. So I'm expecting them to bring someone else in, whether that's via the draft. There was news that dropped right before this show that Ezekiel Elliott was considering the Eagles. I personally would not love that, as a longtime Cowboys disliker. But, we'll see what happens. And I do think no matter what, Rashad Penny is going to get the chance to do some damage behind, again, this offensive line that is by far the best in the league.
Yeah, I appreciate the very PG spin on that, a Dallas disliker. I'm sure that's what you are, Sam. I'm sure when you and your buddies are 6 beers deep, that's exactly what you have to say about the Dallas Cowboys, is how much you dislike them. But no, I completely agree with you there, Rashad Penny. The big question mark is health. That's always been a question mark with Rashad Penny.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, I think he is a much better running back when healthy than Miles Sanders is. So sky's the limit for him if he can stay healthy.
Yep.
Let's go on and talk about wide receivers a little bit. Jeff, start us off. Who is your wide receiver winner from NFL free agency?
Well, for me, it's Garrett Wilson, and it's not because he's moved anywhere. It's the expected addition of Aaron Rodgers, elevating him through the roof, in my opinion. I mean, Rodgers has a knack of finding and utilizing his top receiver, and Wilson is most assuredly going to be his number one target. I'm just looking at his stats. I mean, Wilson had 9 games with at least 6 catches, 90 yards, or a touchdown in 2022. And his worst games came with Zach Wilson under center. So he should see a big spike in volume of production in year 2, especially with Aaron Rodgers under center. So Garrett Wilson is by far the receiver I'm most excited about coming up here through what we've seen transpire through free agency.
And I'm glad you took the Aaron Rodgers approach, because I've heard a lot of people say that, like, oh, Elijah Moore is gone. Wheels up for Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore wasn't an impediment at all last year. I mean, he had just over 400 yards. I don't think that him being gone really changes the dynamic too much for Garrett Wilson. He's a stud. He's going to be good regardless of who's throwing the ball to him. But like you said, if he can get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who historically peppers his guys with targets, absolutely love it for Garrett Wilson. Sam, over to you. Who is your big wide receiver winner?
Mine's going to be a little bit of a surprise, given that the reaction to this has mostly been negative so far, but Jacoby Myers signing with the Raiders could be a sneaky plus. I mean, look, Jimmy Garoppolo signed as the team's, for now, a starting quarterback. Garoppolo is not the type of guy who's going to throw bombs, down the field to Devontae Adams, and I don't expect Devontae Adams to really change. He's pretty solid. He's a locked in, wide receiver 1. But Hunter Renfrow took an extreme step back last year and really didn't do much of anything. I know he was hurt for a portion of the year, but still, with Darren Waller gone, a lot of targets open up because, Waller, was extremely efficient, before the last couple injury-filled seasons. And now Jacoby Myers steps in as, the marquee wide receiver free agent in this class. And I think what people are overlooking is that Myers is not just limited to the slot. He's not just going to be swapping in and out with Renfrow. Myers can play outside, and he was pretty efficient when he played outside last season for the Patriots as well. And I think he's going to benefit from not having Mac Jones, who is, in my opinion, one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he'll benefit from having Jimmy Garoppolo, who is much more efficient in that short area of the field, to throw him the ball. And I think without Waller there anymore, I think a lot of targets are going to open up for Myers, because that's just where Garoppolo is going to be more comfortable throwing the ball. So I think there's going to be a lot of targets spread out, and I think Myers is going to open up as probably the biggest beneficiary of Waller leaving this team in free agency.
It's definitely an against the grain take, and I'm sure you saw me raise my eyebrows, and I heard Jeff with a little, I think we're both questioning that one a little bit, but that's sometimes what you got to do is go against the grain a little bit because everybody is screaming, more target competition. But I think you make a good point that just about any quarterback realistically is going to be an upgrade from Mac Jones. So if we're looking at a more explosive offense with a better quarterback, there is reason to believe that he could have an improved situation here. So I like the outside of the box approach there, Sam, and I am not going to push back on you too hard. Be sure to subscribe at youtube.com/footballguys. That's going to help other people find this as well as giving us a thumbs up. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. If you got anything to add, whether you agree or disagree with us, leave that in the comments and we will be sure to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.